as we move on into Riley. So you're, again, another case you're probably familiar with. So Riley was a case, it was a search incident to arrest where Riley was arrested. They searched his cell phone without a warrant. Goes up to the Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court says, nope, you need a warrant to search a cell phone. So I'm sure all of you have seen Riley. There's nothing really surprising here. Now it's a 6-year-old case. Warrants are required to search cell phones. Pretty clear rule there. But what does that mean for other devices? So what about digital cameras? A digital camera can store a lot of information. Some digital cameras have GPS built in, and if they have GPS built in, it's embedding the location of every picture, embedding the location into every picture that you take. So now if you're thinking about Jones and you're thinking about Riley, well, Jones was more location-based. Riley was kind of all of the data that's available on a cell phone. So should a digital camera require a warrant or not? Courts are split on that. North Carolina, a state court there, applied Riley to GPS devices. So things like your maybe a TomTom or any of those other GPS devices that you might put in a vehicle if you're still using those instead of your cell phone. I think most people just use their phones nowadays. But they did apply Riley to GPS devices. And I think that makes sense because that would seem to go along with Jones. A GPS device is going to store a lot more data than just what they did in Jones, just 30 days. It could store a whole bunch of data. So that makes sense. Key fobs. Key fobs are an interesting point here. So I'm sure a lot of you have the little electronic key fob where you can click and it unlocks your door. I'm guessing many of you do not know that that actually stores all sorts of information about your vehicle. Depends on the manufacturer of your car, but some of those key fobs can store things like your gas level, your last trip, engine information. There can be a lot of data actually stored in a key fob. I've seen cases where law enforcement just takes the key fob over to the dealership and says, here, can you download the data from this and give it to us? I think that there's an argument to be made that maybe a warrant is required for that, following Jones and following Riley. So those are some other devices to think about. If you're not dealing with a traditional cell phone, but you've got some other device that's storing digital evidence and there's no warrant, I think it's probably worth a challenge after you look at Jones and Riley, since those both went in the direction of a warrant is required.